everybody, welcome back to my modern homestead. If you don't already know, my name is Janet. Tonight I'm here by myself. I'm starving. I have not eaten all day. So we're going to make a quick meal. I'm going to show you how to do it quickly, easily, and deliciously. Let's get started. Let's take a look at what we've got. I've got 2 yellow potatoes. I like these because I don't have to peel them. Then I've got 1 pound of extra lean ground beef, a little bit of better than beef bouillon paste, tablespoon of flour, just a little bit more. It was a mounded tablespoon. And then I have some fresh mushrooms. First thing I'm going to do is get the potatoes chopped up and seasoned and get them in the oven. When you're eating alone, it's easy to just go the easy route and not be so healthy, but sometimes the body just craves something healthy to eat. I like to take my potatoes and cube them up into smaller cubes because they cook faster, and I'm not spending a whole lot of time waiting on them to get done. Cube them all up, and we're going to throw them in a bowl. I like to make sure mine are washed and dried really well before I start because that makes them crispier. I like to add oil to mine. Now I'm doing Weight Watchers, so this is what I use in place of olive oil sometimes when I'm trying to avoid points. But if I'm not trying to avoid points, I will drizzle just a little bit of olive oil over them. To use this, I just use it sparingly, just give it a little swirl. That's it. Then I just go in with my seasonings. I got some paprika, maybe. There we go. Onion powder. Whoa, open the wrong side. A little bit of garlic powder. This is some homemade tomato salt I used. It doesn't have a whole lot of salt in it, but it's got tomato skins and some other spices in it. I love it. It's a great use to use up tomato skins if you're processing tomatoes, and just a little bit of salt. There we go, and give it a good mix. Okay, now we're just going to pour these out onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. This is one of my go-tos for dinner. It's 0 points on Weight Watchers, so I love having it often. It was one of my favorites before I ever started Weight Watchers, so I was glad to not have to give it up. Into the oven we go at 350 until the edges are crisp. And the amount of time is totally up to you. Now what I'm going to do is to take about half of this ground beef and put it back into that same bowl I did the potatoes with, because those spices are definitely not going to hurt a hamburger patty. And that's exactly what we're making. We're going to do a little bit of hamburger steak with a simple beef and mushroom gravy. Y'all, I promise you this is so quick and so easy. I'm just going to season this up with garlic, a little salt, onion powder. Be careful this time. And the tomato salt. Now, usually when I do these, this is all I use. But today, because I've not eaten, I'm going to put a little bit of egg in this. I say a little bit. It's a whole egg, but it's a small egg right out of the coop into there. And then we're just going to mix up the seasonings and the beef. And this is going to help the beef actually hold together, in addition to giving it a little more protein. Because I find a lot of times if I'm cooking just for myself, protein seems to lack in my meals. Okay, this is a ½ pound, so I'm going to put this into 2 patties. Just like so. I've already got my eye heating on the stove. That's it. Just make thin patties. That egg, in theory, is going to help these patties not fall apart as they cook in the pan. Voila. Here we go. We've got the patty in the pan. There is just the tiniest little bit of butter in there. It was not even a ½ teaspoon. And then we're just going to let this patty cook for 3 to 5 minutes on each side, depending on how well done you like your patty. Okay, let's give this a little flip. And we'll cook it for another 4 to 5 minutes on that side. I should have used a bigger pan. I could have cooked both patties at once easily, but I didn't. That's all right. We're throwing this patty in anyway. We're just going to make it work. That wasn't hard. While that's cooking, I like to have everything cleaned up. The potatoes are cutting off. Last thing I have to do is actually wipe this down, but I won't do that until I'm completely done with everything. The potatoes are done. Let's check them. They're not done. I'm going to give them just a few more minutes. That's actually, that wasn't the potatoes at all. That's the timer for the meat. Let's take off this first patty. We're good. And we'll just let this one keep cooking for a few minutes. I'm going to take up some of these bits so that they don't burn. I'm going to leave the patty here by the stove because this will go back into the pan in just a minute. But while this one cooks, I am going to go ahead and put in our mushrooms that I sliced up. I'm not going to season them because when I do this gravy, I will be adding beef bouillon and it's plenty salty. If I do need a little more salt, I can add it in a little bit. Okay. Let's give this about 1 more minute and then we'll flip that one over. But I'm going to keep stirring these mushrooms. I just got this flipped over. We're going to let it cook for about another 4 minutes. The potatoes are almost done. I don't think they're as done as I like them, so I'm probably going to add a couple minutes to them. We'll just keep going. Look at this, y'all. These mushrooms are perfect. The patty is just about done. One little trick, if the juices are running clear, your patty's done. So let's check on the potatoes. They're almost done. Timer should be going off in about 21 seconds. And they are pretty well done. Let me show you. This is what they look like now. But I'm going to put them back in the oven. I like them crisper. This only has a few seconds left on it. So I'm going to call it done because we'll put the meat back on. Don't do that if you haven't been cooking for a while. I don't want you to burn yourself. All right, what I'm going to do is take this mounded tablespoon of flour, pour it over those mushrooms. I'm going to grab a different spatula. Go. That was the timer for the meat going off. So I'm just going to let this run around in the pan. I'm going to add just a hair more butter, maybe a teaspoon this time. And what you want to do is just cook a little bit of that flour flavor out of the flour. And this is going to go fast, so don't blink. Okay, let's pour the water into here and just keep stirring. This is 1 cup of just regular tap water. This is going to make a thin gravy. If you want it thicker, just use more flour. 1 to 2 more tablespoons should be plenty. And I'm also going to add in this bouillon paste. This is the Better Than Beef. If you didn't want to use this, you could use actual beef broth instead of water. It would be just fine. You don't want to use it at all and just have a mushroom gravy. Okay, I've never done it, but I suppose you could. Yeah. You could also put onions in this when you do the mushrooms if you wanted to. I didn't want to. I didn't want to do the extra work. There we go. And just let that go for a few minutes and there's your gravy. Now all these little bits I removed from the pan, I'm just going to add them back in. That's flavor, y'all. Don't leave it out. And that was lean meat, so there were no liquids in the pan that need to go back in. But if you were not using a lean meat and you had liquids in your plate from taking the beef off, just add them back in here also. Whoops, try not to splatter it and make a mess. We'll go back to the spatula, get some of that flour off. You can already see the gravy thickening up. When my gravy starts thickening up, I like to add my beef patties back into it. That's probably going to clump right there. Hey, it's just me. I don't care. Using my hands, again, it's just me. I don't care. Whoops, I do care about that. I like to keep a wet paper towel handy or a wet rag and clean up any messes right away. And there we go. And we're just going to let this sit here until the potatoes are done. Scoop a little bit of that gravy right over the meat. It's going to be good, y'all. See, you can eat good right by yourself. You don't have to have a bunch of people. And if you're not a big eater, this is plenty to have 2 meals. 1 for now, 1 for later. Hey, while that's finishing up, let's start plating. I've got just a little bit of organic mix here with the baby greens. We need something green on our plate. I'm not a huge fan of arugula. A lot of people rave and love of it. I'm just not a fan. The baby's better than the rest. Got a tomato I need to use up, so I'm just going to cut it. Yes, I cut in my hands. I know. It's gonna have some up you making or having a cow. It's okay, y'all. And if you're not experienced, maybe you don't want to do it, but I've done it for years, y'all. I'm used to it by now. All right, there we go. I've got these dried cranberries, sweetened cranberries, and candied pecans. I use not even a tablespoon right over the top of that. Then just a couple of croutons. These are very low points on Weight Watchers. Just use a few. Just like that. And there is a simple salad. Of course you can add more, but this is enough for me. I like to use a 0-point dressing. This is a strawberry vinaigrette, and I just drizzle it. And when I said you could do more, I don't mean quantity-wise. I mean more as in you can put more items on it. Cheese, cucumbers, whatnot. But we're just keeping it simple. Y'all see what I did? I put the salad in the plate. It's supposed to go in the bowl. I need my plate. Hold on, let me transfer it. Okay, y'all, these potatoes are done. Let's pull them out of the oven. Now let's plate them up onto the actual plate. Okay, our meat is done. Let's take a piece. We'll put it right here beside the potatoes with the mushrooms on there. Ooh, y'all. Gravy over the top. Get that gravy. Good stuff, y'all. Clean the plate up. Doesn't it look delicious? There we go. I told you, it didn't have to be complicated. Meals for One can be healthy, filling, and delicious, and be easy. Thank you guys so much for joining me. You know I love it when you come and spend a few minutes with me. So until we meet again, may you be blessed. Love you guys.